Okay, hi students, good morning. Okay, so we started with the sixth module in the last class. Sixth module is about the incorporation of company, how to form a company, what are the different types of company and how to form those different type of company and which company will be beneficial for you. ऐसे करके कुछ था. And there are two main important documents which a company needs if it is a private or a public company or even a one-man company. That is memorandum of association and articles of association. ठीक है, write present in the chat box. Then memorandum of association and articles of association. Memorandum में it is a document in which how your company will be interacting with the outside world, okay, outside companies, outside individuals, outside corporates, public, everyone, how this will be interacting. So that is there in that, okay, memorandum of association. Okay, that is the main important document, the first one, okay, which includes what is the name of the company, what is the address of the company, where the company is situated, what is the type, what are the types of businesses that company can open, कि कौन सा बिजनेस कर सकती है, कौन सा नहीं कर सकती है, everything will be mentioned in memorandum of association in objects clause. Then how much capital has been invested and who are the subscribers, and finally what is the liability. Okay, actually liability is the fifth one, then the subscribers. ये क्या है, ठीक है. So every detail will be mentioned in the memorandum of association. तो एक company whenever you are forming or whenever you are dealing with any other company, तो वो company का MOA short में बोलते हैं, memorandum of association, that has been recorded. And then the next major document is about articles of association. सब आए तो next major document was about articles of association. Articles of association is about the internal working of the company. ठीक है, अंदर जो भी dealings रहेगा, when we'll conduct meeting, how we will appoint the director, what will be the shareholding of each and every director, when we will do any business decision which will be internal to the company. ठीक है, बायबैक ऑफ शेयर्स के रिलेटेड, मीटिंग्स के रिलेटेड, वोटिंग राइट्स के रिलेटेड, ठीक है, एवरी स्मॉल डिटेल्स विद इन द कंपनी inside that will be in the articles of association. If I can give an example, memorandum of association as per the college, how the college will be interacting with university, how the college will be interacting with the students, with the other colleges, with the other authorities, ठीक है, government or police authorities or any other authorities. So how this college will be dealing with the outside, that is similar to the memorandum of association. ठीक है, internally how the college administration is handling the present students who are there, the departments, the IA tests and the other events or something like that, the classes and all the internal things, okay, that will be somewhat related to the articles of association of the company. Okay, that we did in the last class. Okay, so today we'll complete the sixth module. ठीक है, छोटा ही है, and this is not the new thing, very much you are aware of it, importance of marketing. You had the entire subject for this. Marketing का क्या importance है, तो from the perspective of business, from the perspective of consumers and from the perspective of society. Okay, and why marketing is important in the developing nation. Okay, so first of all, marketing, as you know, I had told you, it's around 100 to 130 years old terminology. Before that, it was only sales, and the salesman itself used to do the marketing. Okay, and the other one which was related to that was advertising. ठीक है, ad डालते थे, then the salesman used to sell the product using the advertisement or using some of his technique and sales techniques and marketing. तो marketing जैसा कुछ term was not there, ठीक है, before 130 years, 140 years पहले. तो marketing then came. Why it came? Because before 150, 130 years, the company which used to manufacture products, they could easily sustain in the market. ठीक है, अगर हम लोग बना सकते हैं तो हम लोग सेल कर सकते हैं. Okay, that is what the economics tells about demand and supply and how the pricing goes. In demand supply में marketing doesn't have much role in that. तो पहले कैसा था, when companies were manufacturing, when very old, जैसा Ford का था, Ford used to only manufacture black color cars and used to sell in the market, and people didn't had any choice because that was the only car available in the market, and Ford had the capability to build the cars. So किसी के पास option ही नहीं था, एक ही कार available है black color में, लेना है तो लो, नहीं तो मतलब. Okay, other options are not available. So the marketing was not there because you don't need it, because है ही हम लोग का इतने कार, जिसको कार खरीदना है वो खरीदेगा, जिसको नहीं खरीदना है उसके पास कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं है दूसरे कार्स खरीदने के लिए. ओके, सो दैट वाज द रीजन. क्या है, okay, so that was the reason marketing was not required itself at that time. So it was a basically production concept. तो जो प्रोड्यूस कर सकता है वो सेल कर सकता है मार्केट में, तो प्रोडक्शन कंसेप्ट. Okay, then came about, then after production concept, slowly the companies started manufacturing. There was an improvement in technology, so many companies come in, competition started. ठीक है, competition की वजह से क्या हो गया, many companies came and they started offering various variants which you studied. ठीक है, different variants आ गए, different kinds, different specifications for each and every product came in the market. जैसे अभी black color cars थे, different color cars आ गए, along with colors different shapes of cars came in the market, along with shape different specification inside the cars. Okay, so many small things started coming in, and there was an increase in competition. So the businesses wanted to tell to the public कि नहीं, our car is better than the other competitor. So they were pushing their products in such a way that हम लोग का जो product है that is good. ठीक है, you should buy our product, that is good. तो that was the kind of a, what do you say, the selling concept. ठीक है, जबरदस्ती push कर रहे हैं हम लोग. So that's the time when marketing, importance of marketing came for the business. ठीक है, so business now it is solution concept. ठीक है, we are providing solution to the customers, not the product but solution to their problems. Okay, तो अभी solution concept है. तो वही, अगर सेल्स कंसेप्ट है या सोल्यूशन कंसेप्ट है, जो भी है, मार्केटिंग इज इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर द बिजनेस टू टेल टू द कस्टमर, टू मेक देम अवेयर अबाउट द प्रोडक्ट, टू मेक देम अवेयर अबाउट हाउ टू यूज द प्रोडक्ट, टू मेक देम अवेयर दैट द यूसेज ऑफ प्रोडक्ट इज बेटर फॉर यू. ओके, सो दैट विल सॉल्व द प्रॉब्लम्स. तो ये सब जो क्रिएटिविटी जो फर्स्ट और सेकेंड मॉड्यूल में जो पढ़ा था, ठीक है, दैट इज जिस्ट ऑफ दैट कि बिजनेस को इम्पोर्टेंट क्यों है मार्केटिंग. Okay, because that 4 P's जो भी है, we need to tell it, or the 7 P's we need to tell it, or the 4, or the SAVE, the solution, accessibility, what value you are providing to the customers, and what education you are providing to the customer, how to use it. ठीक है, Volkswagen का जैसे I had told you long back when Volkswagen was launched in India in 2010 के आसपास. Okay, then there was an advertisement in newspaper of Volkswagen. It was when you turn the page, there was a sensor which could speak. Okay, when you turn the page, when light falls on that sensor, there was an audio recorded. That audio used to say that there is a car which came in the Indian market as a Volkswagen Das Auto. A small audio clip was there. So they were continuously telling it is not we say Volkswagen nahi, it's Volkswagen. Okay, like that. So you need to educate your customer how to say the name of the company. Colgate के ad में you put there is a brush which comes, and there is a toothpaste which comes, and it puts a lot of paste on the toothbrush. ठीक है, so by seeing that, the customer के mind में आना चाहिए कि we need to put more paste on the toothbrush, और उतना तो कभी हम लोग डालते नहीं. So but the marketer tells you like that. ठीक है, either it tells you from the audio, either it tells you from the visual, or from any other means, but they want to tell you how to use their products. So that's the reason marketing is very important for the business. From the customer's point of view, if the customer is wants to find a solution for his problem, want to find a product for his requirement, there is a requirement for the customer of some product, तो वो product के लिए उसको ढूंढना नहीं पड़ना चाहिए to find. Okay, if you go in a library and all the books are mixed up, marketing, finance, HR, novels, other books, other the magazines and other things, I book, report book, project reports, everything is mixed up, and it is very difficult for you to find. It should be properly arranged and labeled so that it is easy to find. So when customer wants a product, it should be easy for him to find the product. If we go to DMart, Big Bazaar, it should be very easy to find the product. ठीक है, एक ग्रोसरीज का सेक्शन विल बी डिफरेंट, टॉयलेटरीज का सेक्शन विल बी डिफरेंट. इफ यू गो टू डी मार्ट, देयर विल बी सेपरेट फ्लोर फॉर द किचन वेयर्स एंड द अपैरल्स. सबका एक सेक्शन डिफरेंट बनाया रहता है, एंड इन दैट सेक्शन ऑल्सो डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज विल बी पुट separately. That is called as merchandising. So customers should be able to find easily where the product is, and the customer should be able to find easily where the product gets. They'll be able to get in the market. Market में मिलेगा किधर? Online मिलता है या market में मिलता है तो किधर मिलता है? The customer should be aware. So that's the reason all the shops also, जैसे merchandising है, shops भी वैसे ही है. If you go in Belgaum, in एक street में there will be certain kinds of shop which are selling all the decorative items. In certain street there will be shops which are selling all the electronic items. In certain street there will be shops that are selling all the steel articles or wooden articles. So, okay, like that. So that the customer, when it is coming to steel के area में आए तो उसको steel के utensils मिल जाएंगे. Decorative area में आए जाएगा, he'll get decorative items. So that is a kind of a big merchandising. Okay, which is somewhat copied in the malls and hypermarkets. So customers को पता रहना चाहिए कि कहाँ पे है exactly product. So that's the reason marketing is also important for the customers as well. तो customers को ज़्यादा ढूंढना नहीं पड़ेगा where the product is and what is the rate of the product. It will be easy for him to compare. Different kind of products will be kept next to each other. Okay, अलग अलग कंपनी के हैं, सेम प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, डिफरेंट कंपनीज के हैं. If they are kept, तो pricing का difference, other ingredients का different, it will be easy for him. Okay, so marketing for the customers and for the society is also important. ठीक है, society का कैसा है? When you want to increase the standard of living of the people, it is important for the society. Okay, because if you consider the entire world, ठीक है, the companies which are there are very handful of companies. Okay, if you can say, if you can just count, you will be able to count it in just maybe 10 companies रहेंगे which are handling the entire world. Okay, if I take the example of Reliance is into so many businesses, Tata is into so many businesses. Okay, so there will be a handful of people who are running the entire country, who are running the entire society. So those people are the industrialists or the businessmen. So they want people to buy the products. They want consumers to consume the products. So consumerization is being promoted by these companies. So in society, they want to create an environment in which people are consuming more products and they are getting the profits out of that. Okay, so it is important for the society, but the people should also be well educated. They should not, ठीक है, तुम लोग को पता ही है आगे का story. So they should be well aware that how the businesses is happening and what is our requirement that we should take. ठीक है, MBA नहीं, पता नहीं. When in my college one company came for sales. ठीक है, तो टेक्निकल तो मैं तो अप्लाई नहीं किया, हाँ MBA में था शायद. So there was a company which they had a tagline, or they used to say before their interviews, they had a small presentation. तो वो लोग ने बोला कि we want that kind of students, or we want to recruit those kind of people, or the candidates should be such that they will be able to sell refrigerators to the Eskimos. ठीक है, Eskimos कौन है पता है? Eskimos are the people who stay in the North Pole. North Pole में there is very cold out there. वो igloo बना के रहते हैं. ठीक है, तो वैसे लोगों के लिए, तो for them, if we can sell a refrigerator, then you are hired with us. ठीक है, we'll hire you. अगर refrigerator इसको बेच रहा है, Okay, so that was the kind of people they were looking at. Okay, so इसमें एक चीज I noticed that if a person is able to sell refrigerator to the Eskimo doesn't need a refrigerator. ठीक है, वो वैसे ही वो क्लाइमेट में रहता है जहाँ पे वैसे ही ठंडी है, हर चीज ठंडा ही रहता है. Okay, he will not require that refrigerator. If you are selling a refrigerator to an Eskimo, that means you are making fun out of him. ठीक है, you are क्या बुद्धू बना रहे हो उसको और सेल कर रहे हैं. Okay, so you should not be an Eskimo when you are buying any item. Okay, you should not buy a refrigerator. Instead, you should buy a gas or something. ठीक है, तो when you are buying some items, you should be very well aware that कि ये use है या नहीं मेरे को. ठीक है, as a society. So marketing is important for the society, and the society, the people in the society should be well aware of what is happening in the society, whether this is the business idea or ये क्या है पता नहीं. Like coming of 4G and coming of 5G, which has been coming up. ठीक है, so anyways, then last है developing economy. First of all, like दो difference है. There is a developed country, there is underdeveloping country. Underdeveloped country, and there is a developing country. ठीक है, तीन type of economy. Now they are changing names every 5 years or 10 years, but basically ये तीन नाम. Developed country are majorly European countries and Americas and Australia, New Zealand. Developed country. There are certain criteria. If you fit into that criteria, you are in developed country. Developing country, which is developing slowly, it is increasing. There is a growth in the country. Again, it is not a standstill. GDP is continuously growing. The standard of living of the people is also growing. Okay, so it is a developing country. Underdeveloped country mein the GDP is not good. The currency doesn't have much value. It keeps on depreciating. People from that country technically migrate to other countries for work, to find employment. तो underdeveloped country है, उसका कोई स्कोप नहीं, वो ऐसे बहुत ही क्या बोलते हैं, बहुत पुअर कंट्री जैसा है. तो मार्केटिंग डेवलपिंग कंट्री में इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज इन डेवलपिंग कंट्री there will be, underdeveloped country में तो कुछ है कोई है ही नहीं. Okay, so marketing in that country is a waste. Developed country में everyone knows what they want, everyone is educated. There are less people generally in a developed country. Okay, so consumerization बहुत difficult है, marketing भी बहुत difficult है. There is a huge competition. Developing country where there are people who are poor, who are rich, who are middle class, who are lower middle class, higher middle class, super rich, not super rich but less rich. ऐसा बहुत variety of people are there in developing country. So developing country में marketing का बहुत important role है in order to lift up the society. ठीक है, तो what do you say? The standard of living of the people is increased slowly. ठीक है, they will be introduced with the new electronic items, new kind of fashion. So developing countries nowadays we call it as emerging economies. Emerging economies में India is one of the major emerging economy. Okay, second या third number पे Turkey आता है. Okay, next Nigeria comes from the African continent. Okay, then Malaysia comes from the Far East. South Korea comes. Okay, so these are few countries which are emerging economies. They are developing fast. So either marketing ka role is very important because the country is growing. There are many startups coming in the country. ये सब grow है. Okay, so in a gist, I have told you what is the importance of marketing. ये सब countries में. Then एक startups करके है in your ठीक है syllabus. But startups का many things I have told you. Okay, when you are starting a business. So when you are starting a business, you will invest your money, then you will go to your family, then you go to your friends. So that comes in early stage companies में आ गया. Okay, then once you set up your business, start selling your products, then your market has been developing. People come to know about your product. ठीक है, अच्छा है ये वो सब. ठीक है, then you started expanding your products in the region. Then you are a mid-stage companies. Later stage companies में when you started expanding your business to new regions, to new kind of customers. You're making new kind of products, different variants. You're increasing your production line. ठीक है, you're increasing width and depth of your product as well. तो you come in later stage companies. So इसके हिसाब से there is a venture capital. Venture capital क्या होता है? When you are starting a business, starting a new venture, and someone is helping you with the capital, someone is helping you with the money, the capital which you are putting into the business. So a new venture के लिए the capital which is coming in is called as venture capital financing by the venture capitalist. जो पैसा दे रहा है, he is called as a venture capitalist. Okay, so इसमें early stage financing में there is a seed capital. Seed capital, that is you are putting seed for the plant. ठीक है, बीज which we put in the ground so that I can have a small plant out of it. ठीक है, तो initial एकदम initial stage I'm putting it, so that is called as a seed capital. Before starting of a company, seed capital is generally the capital which is given during the idea generation stage. Idea ढूंढ रहे हैं हम लोग, ठीक है, we are thinking on something, we want funding for some experiments or some test marketing के लिए. That is the capital which is seed capital. ठीक है, एक बार आइडिया जनरेट हो गया, वी फाउंड आउट व्हाट काइंड ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स वी आर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, उसके बाद में स्टार्टअप कैपिटल. सो आई एम स्टार्टिंग अ कंपनी और अ पार्टनरशिप फर्म, ओके, और एल्स सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप और वन मैन कंपनी, व्हाटएवर इट इज. तो एक कंपनी सेटअप करने वाला है, अभी नाम आने वाला है समथिंग. सो दैट द टाइम द कैपिटल व्हिच योर फ्रेंड्स और फैमिली विल बी हेल्पिंग, दैट इज अ कैपिटल कॉल्ड एज स्टार्टअप कैपिटल. ठीक है, वंस यू सेटअप योर कंपनी, start your business, start manufacturing your products. Now for manufacturing of products you need some more money. Okay, so that comes from the second round of financing. The second round of financing, seed capital, startup, second round of financing, ये पूरा होने तक you have established your company and your customer base. ये पूरा हो चुका है. उसके बाद में later stage financing में when you want to expand your company to other regions, it will come, later stage of financing will come. ठीक है, ये बहुत डिटेल में नहीं है, आई एम एक्सप्लेनिंग बिकॉज एक ही वर्ड है सिर्फ तुम लोग के सिलेबस में. ये एक्चुअली दिस कम्स फॉर, आई हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड दिस टू योर सीनियर्स फॉर हाफ अ मॉड्यूल, इट वाज देयर इन अर्लियर सब्जेक्ट. ठीक है, बट आई हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड यू अ जिस्ट ऑफ इट बिकॉज ये एक वर्ड है सिर्फ, वेंचर कैपिटल करके, सॉरी स्टार्टअप्स करके. ओके, द लास्ट वन, okay. Yeah, the last one of your sixth module is about intellectual property rights. ये थोड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है, ये इम्पोर्टेंट भी है सभी के लिए. इफ इवन इफ यू आर गोइंग फॉर मार्केटिंग और एचआर, इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स बहुत बड़ा इशू हो जाता है. ओके, कंपनीज लूज lakhs or crores together in terms of intellectual property rights issues. ठीक है, इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स इज अ ब्रॉड टर्मिनोलॉजी. ठीक है, बहुत बड़ा टर्मिनोलॉजी है. इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स मतलब इफ आई हैव द प्रॉपर्टी इज नॉट फिजिकल, ओके, इट मे बी फिजिकल बट बहुत कुछ बड़ा, यू कैन नॉट इजीली डील विद इट. ठीक है, जैसे कोई लैंड या बिल्डिंग नहीं रहता है प्रॉपर्टी. दैट प्रॉपर्टी इज समवॉट रिटन मटीरियल or else a manufactured chemical formula for a pharmaceutical company or a soundtrack which you have just created. Okay, that kind of things will come under intellectual property rights. A specific color combination which you have made for your product, okay, a specific design of your product which that design is particular to that product and no one else has that. Okay, so ऐसा कुछ है तो it comes under intellectual property rights. But when you are, अभी जैसे I was telling कि if you have an idea, you are using that idea to make a business. If that idea gets copied, if you tell someone about that idea and that person is not reliable and it gets copied, then you cannot do anything about it. ठीक है, अगर कुछ बोर हो रहा है घर पे और कुछ मूवी देखना है ना, तो there is a movie about Facebook. Okay. ठीक है, I'm not able to remember the name. ठीक है, I'll tell you. ठीक है, तो there is a movie about Facebook जैसा आया था. तो there was an idea which was, as per the movie, there was an idea from the Harvard students. There were 4 or 5 Harvard students were there. They met Mark Zuckerberg and they told about an idea to develop a website for their college. Okay? And that idea was very much similar to what Facebook is. Not now, but at least 10 years पहले जो Facebook जैसा था वैसे ही था वो idea. Okay, there will be photos coming in, we could like the photos, we could send some messages, we could share the photos of our events of our colleges. So ऐसे ऐसे जो भी है ना, तो that somewhat ideas was shared by those 4 or 5 Harvard students to Mark Zuckerberg, and Mark Zuckerberg using that idea had developed a website and he named it as Facebook, developed by Mark Zuckerberg on every page. Later these 4 students came to know that ये हम लोग का ही आइडिया है, ये इसने चुरा के एक अपना वेबसाइट ही बना लिया. So they filed a case against him and that case went on for few months or few years, and Mark Zuckerberg had to pay to those 4 students some amount because their idea was copied. Okay, and many such cases is there with this Bill Gates. Bill Gates. Okay, when he founded Windows, there was a boom in the California or the Los Angeles वो area में US में there was a boom to develop the softwares. So there was claims that एक बंदा software बना रहा है. There is again a movie. I'm not able to remember. वो movie में भी वैसा ही है. So there are few group of friends who are making a software, okay, for some small things. Okay, just for example, इधर देखो, ठीक है, this is a software Google Meet, ठीक है, which is developed by Google. There is a small button over here which says Google Meet auto admit. ठीक है, whenever your request comes for joining to join the class, I need to click on admit every time. Okay, so there is a small software which is not developed by Google. Okay, this is not developed by Google. It's small add-on hai, which is developed by someone else. So I'm using that add-on. Okay, I have downloaded that add-on from him, and he will get the benefit from the Google. Okay, so that is a different story. But this add-on has been developed by someone else. ये वाला जो है add-on है. तो whenever your request comes, this automatically clicks the admit button. I don't need to click the admit button. Okay, if you have observed in the few lectures, so मेरे को जाके click नहीं करना पड़ता admit button को, automatically admit click हो जाता है because of this software, small software. Okay, ठीक है. So वैसे ही है ना, small softwares थे which was developed by other people, which Bill Gates used to tell them how you have developed, and then I'll give you some money or I'll give you some patents here ऐसे करके. Then he used to talk with them, get their idea and implement in the Microsoft or in the Windows, and they मतलब उनका लॉस हो गया, उनका लोग ने आइडिया शेयर कर दिया बिल गेट्स के साथ. ठीक है, whenever तो अभी एक छोटे ग्रुप ऑफ फ्रेंड्स है, बिल गेट्स जैसा बड़ा आदमी, इफ डायरेक्टली यू आर कमिंग इन कॉन्टैक्ट and you're talking to him what is the idea and he's telling you okay I'll give a good money for your idea and he's just copying it. ठीक है, तो बहुत ठीक है, it is a loss for that. So that's the reason this terminology intellectual property rights किधर है, तो that is important. ठीक है, तो इसमें है ना, there are 3 kinds of that intellectual property rights, actually 4. ठीक है, first is patent. Okay, patent is you have developed something. ठीक है, मैंने कुछ बनाया है, it is kind of a maybe a software or a chemical formula for a pharmaceutical company. जैसे कभी कोविड के वैक्सीन आ रहे थे, so for that vaccine there will be a certain chemical formula which will be developed by that pharmaceutical companies, and that pharmaceutical companies is using that chemical formula to make a vaccine. Okay, that chemical formula which they have developed, it will be secret, it will be kept secret by them. They will not share it with other pharmaceutical companies. They will be keeping that secret for certain time. ठीक है, and they will file for patency कि हम लोग ने ये बनाया है और कोई बना नहीं सकता कि ऐसा वाला formula. So there are different kinds of vaccine, but there are different kinds of chemical composition in that. Okay, जैसा भी कोवैक्सीन का there will be different kind of, कोविशील्ड का it will be different, मॉडर्ना का it will be different, chemical formulas will be different, how they react with the body, how they react with the virus, that is also different, how they need to keep it मतलब refrigeration, there are certain vaccines which you need to keep it below 20 degrees Celsius. ठीक है, -20 डिग्री सेल्सियस, मतलब बहुत ठंडा एनवायरनमेंट में यू नीड टू कीप दैट वैक्सीन, रेफ्रिजरेट करके रखना है. ओके, अदरवाइज दैट सोल्यूशन विल बी स्पॉइल्ड. दूसरे वैक्सीन का चलता है 4 डिग्रीज भी चलता है ऐसे. तो देर आर different kinds of medicines. So वो chemical formula which the pharmaceutical company has developed, they will file for patency कि ये वाला formula कोई और copy नहीं कर सकता. I will have the patency for it. Same goes for the software कि ये ऐसे जो मैंने बनाया है, ये जो work कर रहा है software, I have a patency for it. ठीक है. If someone develops this kind of a software, they need to ask permission from me. किसी को use करना है तो. Okay. And this patency will not be there throughout the lifetime of the company. They will file a patency for maybe 20 years, 25 years तक ऐसा कुछ. So if certain companies have developed a medicine for cancer, so वो cancer का medicine वही company बना सकता है using that formula. Even if other companies got to know कि हाँ उसका medicine लेके they'll test it in the lab using medicine, and उनको पता चला कि हाँ इसमें ये इसने मिलाया है, so we can also start making our tablets. So that cannot be done, okay, because uska patency, and that patency will slowly finish off after 20 or 25 years, and then it is available for everyone. Okay. Trademark क्या होता है? Trademark is a particular mark on the product, a particular signage or symbol, or the way it is written. Okay, so that is the trademark which the other company cannot copy. जैसे Nike का tick mark है. Okay, that the way the tick mark has been used by Nike and NIKE जैसे लिखा है, other companies cannot copy it. जैसे first copy products रहते हैं जो चोरी के, जैसा क्या बोलते हैं उसको, duplicate products जो रहते हैं, they don't form a company and they cannot make what you say the Nike का symbol और वो ऐसा लिख के वो लोग नहीं बना सकते. Okay. In the local market, they can somehow sell or duplicate products बिकते, but not in the larger market, national market या state and national markets, international तो भूल ही जाओ, तो उधर नहीं कर सकते. So you have a particular trademark. ये Nike का ऐसा दिखता है, जैसे Dell computers है, Dell का वो E जो turn हुआ है, Apple का half eaten apple जो है. Okay, so that all trademarks are particular to that. ठीक है, you cannot copy VI जैसे वोडाफोन आइडिया का है. Okay, so certain things you cannot copy and it should not resemble other companies as well. So that is a trademark. वो एक particular mark के हिसाब से, it is not a product, but when you see that mark, you will be easily able to identify हाँ ये this product is of that company. So एक mark है, ठीक है, trademark. Then comes copyrights. Second last one, copyright means it is also a kind of material or the content which a person has developed. ठीक है. पेटेंट में क्या था? पेटेंट में it was a kind of a product or a small formula or a software. ठीक है. कॉपीराइट में it is a kind of a written material. एक मैंने नॉवेल लिखा है या फिर एक रिसर्च पेपर लिखा है, okay, or else a music which I have developed. यही Crazy 4, if you have seen the movie Crazy 4 where Hrithik Roshan has danced, उसका जो साउंड ट्रैक था, and Sony Ericsson, even there Hrithik Roshan has danced. तो ऋतिक रोशन दोनों में है, ठीक है, और वो दोनों का ना साउंड ट्रैक was almost the same. Okay, but Sony Ericsson had launched that soundtrack before, and later on Rakesh Roshan had made that soundtrack, and he has launched in Crazy 4 movie. तो वो दोनों साउंड ट्रैक को there was a forensic analysis of that soundtrack, and they tested that कि ये साउंड ट्रैक इससे copied है या फिर ये original है. Then later on, as per the forensic analysis, it was proved that ये soundtrack copied है, and Rakesh Roshan had to pay a huge penalty to Sony Ericsson because they had copied the soundtrack. So ऐसे soundtrack है या फिर if certain written materials है, कुछ है, ठीक है, या कोई मूवी बना रहे हैं तो एग्जैक्टली कॉपी किया मूवी का, सेम टू सेम थिंग्स, ठीक है. नाउ इट इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट, यू नीड टू टेक परमिशन ऑफ दैट प्रोडक्शन कंपनी, ठीक है, जहाँ पे वो मूवी का एक क्लिप मैं उठा रहा हूँ, वो क्लिप के जैसे ही आई एम पुटिंग दैट सीन इन माई मूवी, तो उससे राइट्स लेना पड़ता है। जैसे आमिर खान का न्यू मूवी विच इज़ अपकमिंग, इट इज़ अबाउट फॉरेस्ट गंप करके एक देर इज़ अ हॉलीवुड मूवी, एग्जैक्टली उसका copy in Indian style. Amir Khan is making. So Amir Khan had approached that company and bought the rights of production. Okay, so that is the copying rights of that production. So copyrights के time पे it will be something like this. Soundtrack रहेगा, if written materials है, कोई script है, research paper है तो ठीक है. So whenever you are writing, when you are manufacturing, whenever you are designing a symbol or a logo or a photo, so you need to register that in the intellectual property rights. तो कोई copy नहीं कर सकता. Okay. One more thing I actually forgot to list down is geographical indication. ठीक है, लास्ट वन है. 2 मिनट होता है. ये भी इंटरेस्टिंग है. जोग्राफिकल इंडिकेशन मीन्स इफ आई एम राइटिंग समथिंग ऑन माई प्रोडक्ट, ठीक है, पीपल विल फील कि वो वहाँ से है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल दार्जिलिंग टी, इफ आई एम राइटिंग, सो नॉर्मल पर्सन विल कम टू नो कि हाँ ये शायद दार्जिलिंग से आया है चाय, एंड फ्रॉम दार्जिलिंग द टी लीव्स आर ऑफ गुड क्वालिटी. बट the name Darjeeling tea is just a name. The tea may not come from the Darjeeling. It may come from another place. ठीक है. सो देयर वाज अ इशू विद दार्जिलिंग टी के दार्जिलिंग टी दार्जिलिंग से नहीं आ रहा है, किधर और से आ रहा है. सिर्फ हम लोग ने नाम दिया दार्जिलिंग टी, नाम तो कुछ भी दे सकते हैं करके. सो दैट इशू वाज रिजॉल्व कि वेन एवर यू आर यूजिंग द टर्म ऑफ अ जोग्राफिकल लोकेशन, फ्रॉम दैट लोकेशन इट सेल्फ इट कैन कम. ओके, सो यू कैनॉट मेक टी योर, जैसे कॉफ़ी अगर कर्नाटक से मिल रहा है, यहाँ से तोड़ रहे हैं, और यू आर मेकिंग एंड यू आर कीपिंग इट नेम एज अ दार्जिलिंग टी. ओके, जैसे यू गेट इन मार्केट कीवी मिलता है, KIWI. ओके, दैट फ्रूट कीवी जो मिलता है, कीवी लोकल भी रहता है एंड कीवी फ्रॉम न्यूजीलैंड ऑल्सो इट कम्स. तो ऑन द पैकिंग मटेरियल में देर इज अ, वो उसके स्टिकर के ऊपर इट विल बी रिटन मेड इन फ्रॉम न्यूजीलैंड, या फिर ऐसे न्यूजीलैंड का कुछ तो लिखा रहता था. ओके, एंड हम लोग के फ्रूट मार्केट वाले इंग्लैंड का करके सेल करते हैं, वो न्यूजीलैंड का प्रोडक्ट है. सो इफ इट इज अ प्रोडक्ट ऑफ न्यूजीलैंड, देन इट अंदर भी जो कीवी होना चाहिए वो भी न्यूजीलैंड का होना चाहिए. ओके, you are you cannot name your what do you say, name of the company as New Zealand Kiwis and the Kiwis is from India. ऐसा नहीं कर सकते. ओके, सो दैट इज अबाउट इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स में एक और एडिशन है, जोग्राफिकल इंडिकेशंस करके. ये हम लोग के टाइम पे और एक इशू था, स्ट्रॉबेरी महाबलेश्वर स्ट्रॉबेरीज ऐसा कुछ था उसका नाम. ठीक है, बट दैट स्ट्रॉबेरीज वर नॉट कमिंग फ्रॉम महाबलेश्वर, दे वर कमिंग फ्रॉम समवेयर एल्स. लोकल एक फार्म था वहाँ पे, दे यूज्ड टू हैव अ प्लांटेशन ऑफ स्ट्रॉबेरीज. तो वहाँ के स्ट्रॉबेरीज तोड़ के वो लोग महाबलेश्वर स्ट्रॉबेरीज बोल के बॉक्स के ऊपर लिखा हुआ था. ओके, सो देयर वाज अगेन अ केस कि महाबलेश्वर स्ट्रॉबेरीज कैसे बोल रहे थे, महाबलेश्वर के है ही नहीं. Okay, so when you are using the name of any place to name your company or your product or your variant, then it should be from that place itself. So ये भी एक intellectual property rights का issue है. ठीक है, तो ये we complete here our 6th module. ठीक है, and that's it. Next I'll start with the 5th one, and okay, that's it. Anything you want to ask? And your IA test will be there in the in next week, coming week. I'll put the timetable in the group. So next week will be your last week of your second semester. Okay, not the coming one, the next one. Yeah. ठीक है, then we'll log off, students. So thank you.